Hi everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Will, you're watching Ball Python Breeder UK. In today's video we're going to take a look at a really useful gene in the ball python hobby, and one that is kind of almost essential in some of the big clown projects if you want to make some real high-end morphs, and that is the Spotnose Ball Python. So this little one here is quite curious actually. She's a Bongo Spotnose Pastel het for Clown. I always have to remember because I had a few of these this year. And as you can see, she is a really beautiful snake. You've got all kinds of things going on in the pattern. I hope the camera's focusing for you. But we're going to take a closer look at some morphs in a bit anyway. But before we get too far into it, I wanted to cover a couple things about the Spotnose gene which are important to know. So first of all, it is allelic to spider. It's in the spider complex, meaning that it's a different mutation of the same gene and the same locus, basically. So it is closely related to the spider gene, but an individual Spotnose ball python does not have a wobble. You can see these animals are perfectly fine neurologically, they are perfectly healthy. What this means is it's perfectly safe, it's perfectly, I don't know what the word is, morally acceptable to keep and breed Spotnose ball pythons, but you need to be aware of the combinations which can occur and create neurological problems with this morph if you breed it. So you wouldn't want to breed this to a champagne, a spider, or really another Spotnose. I think someone said to me also a hidden gene wormer. I'm not 100% sure on that. But basically some other genes in the spider complex and other Spotnose ball pythons can cause neurological issues like a wobble. So the solution is to not breed it to them. That's really simple. So as you might have guessed, as I've said, you can breed it Spotnose to Spotnose and get a different result. It is what we call an incomplete dominant gene, which some people still call co-dom. What you call it is up to you, but what that means is that it is a gene that has a super form, just like yellow belly, pastel, cinnamon, black pastel, etc. The difference being, in this case, the super form can cause neurological issues. So you don't want to breed Spotnose to get super Spotnoses. So really that's one of the main questions I get about the morph covered there. Now, aside from that, I've established that I only breed Spotnose to other morphs to put it into combinations, and that is what most people do with it. It's just something that you need to know. But aside from that, this is not just an incredible morph in terms of pattern, but I've also noticed that all my Spotnoses feed really well. They feed really well. They tend to be quite gentle in temperament. They grow well, they breed well. They just seem like an all-round good morph. Obviously in my lifetime I've only probably met 100 or so Spotnoses, and that's not nearly a big enough sample size to really draw conclusions. People talk a lot about sample sizes, which is kind of funny in ball pythons because considering how variable they are, you'd really need a sample size of 5, 6, 7,000 or so to draw some real conclusions. But I would be interested to hear from other people if they have Spotnose ball pythons that they also find to be exceptionally good feeders, because that is what I find with most of mine. Anyway, before I make the video too long for the algorithm, let's head over and check out some of my baby hatchlings. Some of my Spotnose combos from last year that are going to help you understand how Spotnose interacts with other genes and some of the cool stuff it can do. Then after that, we'll go over to Morphmarket and we'll check out some of the big clown projects you can get into, which, credit where credit is due, were mostly invented by Justin Kobylka of Kinova. Okay, so this is probably going to be one of those videos where I try and show you the babies and they try and escape or wriggle all over the place or poop on something, but no matter, we'll see what happens. We can see there's always one trying to escape already. Anyway, I've got 3 babies here from, I guess, maybe August or September of 2023, and all 3 of them have Spotnose in them, and the reason I want to show them to you is to show you kind of the different things that Spotnose can do with different genes. Some of them more common genes, some of them more rare, and the levels of complexity that the gene goes to when you mix it into combinations. So I'm just going to start with classic, which is a Spotnose Pastel 100% Clown. And this one is absolutely beautiful. Now, I've got to say, I'd have to admit that I think the Het Clown influence is helping add some richness to the colour. But even without the Het Clown influence, you can see that compared to a regular pastel, this has a much more jumbled up pattern. The alien heads are kind of, well, mostly just keyholes really. There is the start of a bit of striping down the back, and there's kind of this overall blotchiness. The blacks are nice and dark, the yellows are quite bright. They do vary a lot, I've got to say. Sorry, I've got one escaping again. As usual, I sort of learnt to close the tub each time. There we go. Anyway, you can see that there's nice dark black, nice yellow, nice contrast. The pattern on the head is getting more jumbled up than you would ever see on a regular pastel. And that jumbled upness, these kind of cuts in the stripes next to the eyes, and the cuts and the blotches in the stripes along the nose there, those are due to Spotnose, and that is a pretty cool indicator of having Spotnose present. The belly is, much like a regular pastel, but you can tell, already it adds so much more. Sorry, buddy. It adds so much more to the combination than just pastel, just with Spotnose, and that is pretty cool. What I would like to say about this morph is that, some of them do turn out darker than this one. It is a cool morph to shoot for, especially if you want it for projects later on, but it varies quite a bit. This is a really nice one. I'll actually put up a photo in a second of a super pastel Spotnose Het Clown, which was sibling to this one that I sold to a good friend down here, and that was much, much brighter. I mean, the top of the head was almost white all over. It was a really amazing snake. But anyway, that's a good morph if you want to get Spotnose into a clown project, for example, and really pretty cheap now overall. Certainly here in Europe, probably even cheaper in the US now. Just trying to bundle her up and get her back in. Then after that, this is yet another thing that Spotnose can do. Make sure I don't shut anyone's head in there. This is, I actually think she might go into a shed cycle soon, but this is a super pastel Spotnose Bongo 100% Het Clown. And so I'm knocking the camera all over trying to get it to sit still. But you can tell, something else has happened here. So it's worth mentioning there is a super pastel influence. There is also the Bongo influence, but the striping here, most of this striping down the snake's body does come from Bongo. And these cool kind of keyhole / alien heads down the flanks, that is kind of a Bongo feature as well. So you've got this really cool interaction between Bongo and pastel going on. And then the Spotnose, I think, has actually increased for striping compared to what you'd usually see. And it's kept the contrast and colours quite rich. I've actually seen a few Bongo super pastels where the colour gets a bit washed out. They're very, very light, especially when they're young. And what I wanted with this one was, the whole reason I bought her mum in the first place was to get some nice rich yellows into the morph. So again, this one, it would be cool just as a super pastel Bongo, but with Spotnose added in there as well, we've got these cool little things going on the stripes on the nose, these cool things on the head pattern. It's almost like the head's like a sock. Even the top stripe has like a Y in it, and this stripe is kind of jumbled up along the way. And this darkness and this contrast, you can tell that Spotnose is really adding to this combination. What I'm going to do with it, I don't know. But as it is Het Clown, I might put it into a Bongo Spotnose Clown project or something else. But anyway, what I really want you to take away from this one is the versatility of what Spotnose can do. I mean, this is a cool, this is a cool morph. And this is the kind of stuff that comes out. To be honest, if I'm really honest, I didn't know what it was going to look like before I did the pairing. What would happen really, but I'm pleased. So we'll see. Now, finally, before we move on to talking about clowns, which some of the rest of this video will be about, let's look at, again, try not to squash anyone. Let's look at a female pastel Spotnose Clown. Again, same age as the others, maybe slightly smaller, although she's a very good feeder. But this is just the start of what you can do with Spotnose and Clown. Already, you can tell there's the classic clown pattern, but it's broken up. The colour's much lighter, the yellows are nice and rich. It's got that pastel clown look that some people don't like, but could work well into other combinations. And she's got this beautiful, beautiful spotty head. Her dad is actually the same morph, and his name is Spot. Just shows, you know, how little imagination I've got. But she's got this beautiful spotty head and this disruptive kind of factor that Spotnose produces when you mix it with Clown. And this is an amazing morph in of itself. It's still reasonably expensive, in fact. But when you start breeding this into long-term clown projects with this kind of clown as, you're kind of one of your base morphs, even though it's not a base morph, but, you know, I'm treating it like a base morph and putting it into a clown project, you come up with all kinds of stuff. And most of that stuff was created by the great Justin Kobylka, who runs Kinova. So we're going to go and take a look at some of his projects now, just to show you where this can go and why I think Spotnose is such an important gene in the hobby. Okay, so now we've had a look at some of my babies, let's head over to Morphmarket and see what kind of cool stuff you can come up with. As I said before, these combinations were all created by Justin Kobylka, who runs Kinova Reptiles. He is someone who made, you know, some of the most popular ball python morphs in the hobby today, and he is someone who really did help the hobby explode. There were people before him, but he has done exceptionally well. He made a big investment, he made an incredible business, and some people like him, some people don't. I happen to think he has kind of moved the hobby forwards in terms of breeding. But anyway, just want to give him his credit where it is due. So let's take a look at some of these things that you can make over on Morphmarket. So first up, we have, before we get into it, I just wanted to put up a quick photo of a regular Spotnose. Sorry about this chair squeaking, as it always does when I do my videos. I just wanted to put this photo up quickly so that we can refresh our memory of what a Spotnose looks like. So it doesn't look that much different from a regular ball python. You can tell there's some cool stuff going on the head. It is a beautiful snake, but when you go over and see what it does in some of these combination morphs that Justin came up with, you're kind of blown away. So the first is the ever famous Batman ball python. Leopard Spotnose Clown. This one was made by, well, I shouldn't say made really, I should say bred. It was bred by Bradford Cole, a breeder in Indiana. Again, Bradford, I hope you don't mind me using your photo, but it's giving you props where props are due. You can see this is just a really cool looking snake. You know, it's taken the clown pattern, it's reduced it, made it into like a black fine line, added some blotches, stripes down the side. The pattern on the head is reduced with some odd, blotches here and there. And it's just a really, really cool looking snake. And this is, this came out years ago. I can't remember exactly what year. But even today, this is still an investment level animal. And it is, something that if you bought this and you were breeding, it would be worth the money. It would enhance all of your clown projects, basically. And really, overall, it just looks cool. And that's why I like it. Next up, another one of the kind of similar kind of thing, but in a different shade, shall I say, is a Scarecrow. Now, this one has possible orange stream, but generally Scarecrows don't have orange stream. It is a banana or coral glow and Spotnose and leopard ball python and clown, sorry. So banana, Spotnose, leopard, clown. And it looks kind of like the Batman, but with the coral glow hue. And this one, you can tell it's a really young one, because coral glows when they're really, really young, or bananas when they're really, really young, have that light, almost ghostly kind of look to them. But the colours do come out a bit as they grow older. It will change to a deeper yellow eventually, and the stripe will get a bit more kind of orangey purple. It's kind of hard to describe. But I mean, this is a really cool thing. It's taken everything people like about the Batman, added in banana, and it's kind of flipped it on its head. Again, a huge investment animal. You could put it into any project and make money or enhance your collection. I shouldn't really say make money, because I never make any. I just get more and more snakes. But anyway, if you got this for your collection, you would produce some awesome snakes. Now, last but not least, this is one that really kind of set the hobby on fire. Everyone was excited about this. It's still a ridiculous price. I don't think Justin actually revealed what genes were involved till, you know, a couple of years ago. He kept it secret for a while, as you would, understandably. And I mean, if you look at the price on that, that's, you know, pretty high. So this is a Pompeii ball python. A Pompeii is black pastel, red stripe, spot nose, yellow belly clown, and all of these genes interact amazingly, but they wouldn't look as good without Spotnose. Spotnose is still one of the key ingredients here, and that is just an awesome looking animal. I've seen a lot of examples, well, not a lot of examples, a few examples, and they're up close. Some of these look extremely rich. You know, they do look almost red, and they do make you think like, you know, lava does come to mind. Incredible looking animal, incredible investment animal. And again, if you put it into a project, you basically couldn't go wrong. So just before I move on, this is produced by DD Exotics from Rhode Island. Again, guys, I hope you don't mind me putting your photo on here, but it is to give you props. But so, there we have it. That is a kind of a roundup of just the tip of the iceberg of some of the cool stuff that you can do with Spotnose, and especially in clown combinations. It's worth mentioning that the combinations I've just shown you, that Justin Kobylka first came up with, first produced, he's now been adding things like confusion into those, lace, special, etc, etc. And it really is just the beginning. There's a lot more you can do. Spotnose will still be an essential ingredient. So my advice is, if you want to do big clown projects and make real investment combination morphs, get to know Spotnose, experiment with it, see how it interacts, and think about animals like the ones I've just shown you, and you know how you can add Spotnose plus other genes, and see what you come up with, basically. Because it's not finished. It's still, you know, there's still a lot to be done. The only limit really is how inventive you are. So, and then please do send me photos of whatever you do produce. But anyway, as always, please do comment. I do enjoy getting people's comments, hearing what ideas you have about husbandry and breeding and where projects should go. I'd love to hear your thoughts on where I should take some of my projects, particularly the bongo and the acid stuff I'm working with. And of course, as always, please do like, subscribe, and come back next week. Thank you very much.